Hello students, in this video we are going to learn about capital market, which includes both primary market as well as the secondary market. Capital market refers to the facilities and institutional arrangements through which long-term funds, which is in the form of debt as well as equity, are raised and invested. It includes development banks, commercial banks and the stock exchanges. Primary market, also known as the new issues market, deals with securities being issued for the first time. Just like any other financial market, it facilitates transfer of investable funds from the savers to the entrepreneurs or business organizations. Those who can invest or purchase securities from the primary market include banks, financial institutions, insurance companies, mutual funds and individuals. In the primary market, the funds are raised through equity shares, preference shares, debentures, loans and deposits. And the purpose for raising funds include setting up of new projects, expansion, diversification, modernization of existing projects, mergers and takeovers, etc. Let us now look at the various methods of flotation through the primary market. Offer through prospectus. Prospectus is a formal legal document which is designed to provide information and full details about an investment offering for sale to the public. That means if the company wants to raise funds from the public, then it has to include all the information in a printed booklet which is known as the prospectus. This information basically contains the name, the registered office address, and other details like the MOA, the details of signatories to the MOA and the directors, etc. Since it is a legal document, it is mandated by law to be supplied to the prospective customers. Now, when a company wants to invite subscription from public, then through the prospectus, it makes a direct appeal to the investors to raise the capital. It could be through an advertisement in newspapers and magazines. The issues which are offered through the prospectus may be underwritten. That means the investment banks first buy or underwrite the securities of the issuing entity and then they sell them in the market. Also, it is mandatory that these securities are listed in at least one stock exchange. The contents of prospectus should be as per the provisions of Companies Act and the SEBI Disclosure and Investor Protection Guidelines. Offer for sale. Here the securities are offered for sale through the intermediaries like issuing houses or stockbrokers. What the companies do is they sell securities all together en bloc, it is known as, at an agreed price to the brokers who further resell them to the investing public. Private placement is when securities of a company are allotted to institutional investors and some selected individuals. Through this method, capital can be raised more quickly than public issue. Also, companies choose this method as access to the primary market can be expensive due to certain mandatory and non-mandatory expenses. Rights issue is when the existing shareholders are given the right to buy new shares in proportion to the existing shares as per the terms and conditions of the company. E-IPOs uses the online system of stock exchange to issue capital to the public. Here the company enters into an agreement with the stock exchange to have an initial public offering. Then the SEBI registered brokers are appointed for accepting applications and placing orders with the company. The investors can then bid to purchase these IPOs through the internet. The issuer company appoints a registrar to the issue having electronic connectivity with the exchange. The issuer company can also apply for listing of securities into any other exchange other than the one through which it has offered its securities. There is also a lead manager who coordinates the activities among all intermediaries connected with the issue. Secondary market, also known as the stock market or the stock exchange, is a market for the purchase and sale of existing securities. It not only helps the existing investors to trade in the securities but also allows the fresh investors to enter the securities market. Through the stock exchange, the existing securities are provided with liquidity and marketability. And like any other financial market, It helps to channelize funds and contribute to the economic growth. The regulatory framework for secondary market or the stock exchange is SEBI, that is the Securities and Exchange Board of India. According to the Securities Contract Regulation Act of 1956, stock exchange is any body of individuals, whether incorporated or not, constituted for the purpose of assisting, regulating, or controlling the business of buying and selling or dealing in securities. So basically, it is a platform through which the companies can raise finance through the purchase and sale of existing securities. To the investors, the stock exchange provides liquidity and safety of investment, and to individual companies, it enhances the credit worthiness. Let us now quickly look at the various functions performed by the stock market. It provides liquidity and marketability to existing securities, wherein it creates a platform for securities to be bought and sold, as well as the investors can disinvest and reinvest. Pricing of securities. The stock market creates a mechanism of constant valuation to determine the prices of securities by giving information to the buyers and sellers. So it facilitates the transaction between the buyers and the sellers, and through the concept of demand and supply, the prices are finally determined. So if there is a company which is performing well, then automatically the demand for this company's securities will increase. The increase in demand will further facilitate the rise in the prices of these securities. As the stock exchange comes under the guidelines of SEBI, the membership in any of these stock exchanges is regulated and defined by the legal framework that is coming under the SEBI guidelines. Also, it ensures that public gets safe and fair deal on the market. Contributes to economic growth. Once the savings of individuals is channelized into productive investment avenues through the stock exchange, that means it creates a platform wherein individuals can actually use their money to purchase securities and watch their money grow. That is what is called as investment. So it further leads to the formation of capital which is required by business organization. Now you can imagine if such capital formation is adequate as per the requirement of these companies or industries or any business organization, then automatically they will start performing well, which will further lead to economic growth. Maybe some 20-30 years back, people did not know much about the stock exchange and how to invest in equities or even other securities that are offered in the stock exchange. But because of the regulating new issues by these stock exchanges, better trade practices, and educating people about various investments, it has actually led to the spreading of equity cult, where now more and more people now want to invest in the stock exchange. The stock market also allows a certain amount of speculative activity in a restricted and controlled manner under the provision of law. Speculation is nothing but financial guesswork of what the prices are going to be of the various securities being exchanged in the stock market. Now, it is basically creating demand for those securities which are probably going to rise in valuation in the upcoming period. Now, if a company is doing well, so you start speculating because of other factors or other business environment elements which affect the functioning of a particular company. If people feel that maybe in the near future the company's prices, the share prices might increase, then through this medium of stock exchange, it allows some kind of speculative work. And healthy speculation is necessary to ensure liquidity and price continuity for the various securities. Let us now understand how the trading and settlement process happens in any stock exchange. Now, the stock exchange is a platform where there is a computer system with many terminals which are spread across the country. The trading happens only through the brokers who are the members of these stock exchanges. The broker also has a computer terminal which is linked to the main stock exchange. The software is designed such that the transaction will be executed when matching order is found from a counterparty. We will learn in detail in the upcoming slides. Through this electronic system, both the parties, that is the buyer and the seller, are aware if the prices are going up or down. And the computers in broker's office is constantly matching orders at the best bid and offer price. On the screen of the broker's office, the orders are constantly matched depending upon the requirement of the investor or whosoever has wanted to purchase the stocks. So based on that purchase or sale of stocks, so based on that particular price and that particular time period and the number of stocks that he or she wants to purchase, the matching orders are done and the unmatched orders remain on screen. The electronic trading system is a relatively new concept where the buying and selling of securities happens online. Let us quickly look at the advantages of such a system. First, there is transparency because the participants can see the prices of all the securities during the transaction process and they can actually see the full market in real time. That means every second or every minute or every hour, whatever the changes are happening with respect to the net asset value of the shares or the share prices, what we say, whether they're going up, whether it is bullish or bearish, howsoever it is performing, it can be seen in real time. Efficiency of information being passed increases, which further helps in fixing prices efficiently. That means that the computer screens display information on prices and capital market developments. So for example, if there is a company if we get to know that the company is performing really well because of all other elements that are affecting the performance of the company, so in quick time it can be understood whether the prices are going to go up or they are going to come down. Further, through the electronic trading system, there is less time, cost and risk of error that is involved, which overall increases the efficiency of the entire trading and settlement procedure. Since the accessibility through the electronic trading system is large, people across the world can participate in the stock market. That means there are larger number of participants, which will overall improve the liquidity of market. So basically, wherever in this world you are placed, you can buy and sell through, of course, the regulations, rules, keeping in mind the rules and regulations. And also through the central trading platform, all the other small trading centers which exist all across the country are connected. We will now be learning the steps in trading and settlement procedure, which is also very important from your academic point of view. Step 1. Selection of broker. A broker is an individual, partnership firm or a corporate body who are registered with the stock exchanges. The brokers buy and sell securities on behalf of the investor or the speculator. The investor fills a client registration form and signs a broker-client agreement. For this, the investor has to provide certain information like the PAN number, date of birth certificate and address proof, residential status, whether he is an NRI or an Indian, details of bank accounts, depository account details, name of any other broker with whom he or she is registered, a client code number in the client registration form. Step 2. Open a Demat account with a depository. The investor opens a Demat account or a beneficiary owner account with the depository participant to trade in securities. The securities are held in electronic form by the depository. A depository is an organization or an institution which holds tradable securities. Depository interacts with the investors only through the depository participant. The depository participant maintains the securities account balances of the investor and intimates them about the status of their holdings from time to time. Step 3. Placing the order. The investor then places the order with the broker to buy or sell securities. For this, clear instruction regarding the number of shares and the price at which the shares have to be bought or sold has to be clearly mentioned to the broker. Then the broker generates an order confirmation slip and gives it to the investor. Step 4. Executing the order. The broker then goes online, he connects with the main stock exchange and he matches the share and the best price what the investor has provided him. When there is a match, it is communicated to the broker's terminal and then the order will be executed electronically. So it will be a kind of a match that happens. The broker then issues a trade confirmation slip to the investor. Step 5. Issuance of contract note. After the trade is executed, the broker issues a contract note. Now, contract note is a legally enforceable document which will help to settle any kind of dispute or claims. It basically consists of the number of shares which have been bought or sold, the price, date, time of the deal, and the brokerage charges. There is also a unique order code number which is assigned to each transaction by the stock exchange, and that unique order code number is printed on the contract note which is given to the investor through the broker. Step 6. Delivery of shares or payment of cash by the investor. If the shares are sold, then the investor has to deliver the shares, and if the shares are purchased, the investor has to pay cash. At this point, we have to also note the pay-in day, which is immediately after receiving the contract note or before the day when the broker shall make the payment or delivery of shares to the exchange. Step 7. Settlement of deal before T+2. On the pay-in day, cash is paid or the securities are delivered. On T+2 day, that is plus 2 days after the transaction day, the deal is settled and finalized. The T+2 settlement cycle on a rolling settlement basis has been with effect from 1st April 2003. Step 8. Delivery of securities or payment of cash by the stock exchange. On the T+2 day, the exchange will deliver the share or make the payment to the broker, which is also known as the payout day. The broker then has to make the payment to the investor within 24 hours of the payout day, as he has already received the payment from the exchange. Step 9 is the delivery of securities in demat form. Once the broker receives the shares, he can make the delivery of the shares in demat form directly to the investor's demat account. Now, for this, the investor has to give all the details of his demat account and instruct his depository participant to take the delivery of securities directly in his beneficial owner account. Let us now try to understand the various constituents of the depository system. First, you have the depository. Depository is an organization which holds the securities like the shares, debentures, bonds, etc. of the investor in electronic form at their request through a depository participant. So basically, there is an investor, and via the DP or the depository participant, they can open their account which will be held in a depository. Now, the services provided by the depositories include dematerialization, rematerialization, transfer of securities, change of beneficial ownership, settlement of trade. In India, there are basically two depositories. One is NSDL, that is the National Securities Depositories Limited, which is promoted as a joint venture between the IDBI, UTI and National Stock Exchange. And the second one is CDSL, that is the Central Depository Services Limited, which is promoted by BSE, that is the Bombay Stock Exchange and the Bank of India. So if you are an investor who wants to purchase certain securities, then through a depository participant, you can have these securities safely kept with a depository. Now, like it's already been discussed that there are basically only two depositories in India, that is the NSDL and CDSL. Then we have the depository participants. Now, depository participant is an entity who is registered with the SEBI under the section 12(1)(a) of the SEBI Act. Now, these are agents of the depository, and some of the authorized depository participants include HDFC Bank Limited, Canara Bank, Stock Holding Corporation of India Limited, etc. So, as an investor, whenever you want to purchase any shares, then through the depository participant, you can open your account with the depository. Then we have investors, who can be any individual or institutions who want to buy securities of companies. And issuing company are those business organizations which issue the securities. Do you know that initially when trading used to happen, then the securities were in a physical printed form and would resemble a kind of a certificate, and that is why they were known as share certificates. But this physical existence created a lot of problems for the shareholders or those who held or they were purchasing the securities. Basically, they could have problems with respect to the ownership, because the securities, especially if it is in the form of a paper or a certificate, then the person who possessed it would actually be identified as the owner. And also, there was this risk of these certificates getting damaged, especially when you don't trade them for a long period of time and these securities are just kept like that in physical form. There were chances, or the risk was there, that they could be damaged. This led to the creation of the concept called dematerialization, where the physical form of securities are cancelled and the investor is given an electronic entry or number so that he or she can hold it in an electronic balance in an account. The advantages of dematerialization includes no risk due to loss on account of fire or mutilation, no chance of bad delivery, no chance of signature mismatch, the transactional costs are lower, the bonus or the right shares allotted will be immediately credited, and the share transactions are simpler and faster. Let us quickly look at the working of the DMAT system. First, a depository participant is identified, who is either a bank, a broker, or financial service company. An account opening form and documentation are completed with respect to opening of the DMAT account. The physical certificate is given to the depository participant along with the DMAT request form. If the shares are applied in public offer, the details of the depository participant and DMAT account are given and the allotted shares are automatically credited. If the shares are sold through a broker, then the depository participant is instructed to debit the account with the number of shares. The broker then gives the instruction to the depository participant, who further will help in the delivery of shares to the stock exchanges. The broker receives the payment, which is paid by the person for the shares sold. All these transactions are completed within 2 days. Let us now study about SEBI, the Securities and Exchange Board of India, which is the regulatory for the securities market in India. SEBI was originally set up by Government of India in 1988 and it acquired the statutory form in 1992 with the SEBI Act. It meets the requirements of 3 groups, which include the issuers of securities, the investors, and the market intermediaries. That is, the person who is purchasing the shares. Then you have the companies which are selling the shares, and all those market intermediaries who come between the buyer and the seller. The primary objectives of SEBI is to protect the interest of the investors in securities. Those who want to invest in the securities, their interest should be protected. To promote the development of securities market so that this concept of buying and selling of shares, so that the capital formation is mobilized throughout the countries. Regulate the securities market. Promote and regulate the self-regulatory organizations which exist and which deal with the financial assets. And prohibit any fraudulent or unfair trade practices in the securities market. The management of SEBI includes a chairman. Then there are 2 members who are officials of the ministers of the central government dealing with finance and law. And then there is 1 member who is the official of RBI, and also 2 members who are appointed by the central government. The functions performed by SEBI are threefold, which include the regulatory functions, protective functions, and the development functions. Under the regulatory functions, SEBI registers brokers, sub-brokers, transfer agents, and merchant banks, etc. It registers and regulates working of the collective investment schemes like mutual funds. It regulates the acquisition of shares and takeover of companies. It notifies from time to time the rules and regulations for stockbrokers, underwriter, merchant banks, etc. And it undertakes inspections, conducts inquiries and audits of the stock exchanges and other financial intermediaries. As a part of the development functions, SEBI promotes training of intermediaries of the securities market. It promotes online trading through registered stockbrokers, and it publishes information which is useful to all market participants for conducting research. The main aim being to facilitate the growth of the financial markets. Under the protective functions, SEBI checks price rigging by prohibiting unfair trade practices. That means any abnormal rise or fall in the share prices are constantly checked by SEBI. It also keeps a watch on the operators so that they may not inflate or depress the market price of securities. It protects the investors by educating them and constantly providing the do's and don'ts with respect to the stock exchanges. It also prohibits insider trading. Now, insider is any person who is connected with a company, like the directors, the promoters, etc., who actually have some kind of sensitive information which may affect the price of securities. And in insider trading, these people, influential people of a company, may use any unpublished information to purchase shares at lower prices and sell them at higher prices. If any such activity happens under the observation of SEBI, then SEBI will investigate and impose penalties on those defaulters. And also, finally, SEBI provides a code of conduct which promotes fair practices in the securities market. So hopefully through this video you would have understood the functioning of the financial market, as well as what is primary market, what is secondary market, what is the role of SEBI and how it influences and controls the stock exchanges, and also how shares are traded in the stock exchanges. Thank you.